last part of this broadcast is going to talk about what happened after my grandparents, what happened after my parents, what happened to Brian in London. Well, I got to London and I was a bachelor, right? I was a single man. I was trying to do everything possible for Brian. I was trying to make as much money as possible. I was trying to do the things that would make Brian happy. And that's what I did for 10 years in London. I spent 10 years in the city of London as a banker. I made a lot of money and I got really depressed, isolated, lonely because I realized what I really needed was a family. And I needed to finally allow someone inside this wall I had built up to potentially make my life have some meaning. And honestly, I thought I was going to be a bachelor the rest of my life. I mean, I was too scared to get a dog. I thought that would be too much commitment. This is true. I remember telling my dad that on a phone call, and he laughed out loud in the phone on me, and he hung up on me. And he's like, Brian, what's wrong with you? And so luckily, I got to meet my wife, Mariana. And I remember meeting her the first coffee date we had. And she basically she spilled the beans and said, I have a daughter. And I had never dated a woman that had a daughter before. And so immediately I thought, well, that's weird. Maybe that's bad. Maybe that's good. But I just went with it. And luckily I got to meet her daughter, and her name is Gabby. And Gabby completely changed my life. And here's a picture of me and Gabby. This is us on Primrose Hill, I think just a couple years after I met her. And I basically ended up adopting Gabby. Mariana was a single mother at the time. And I became Gabby's father for all intents and purposes. And it was crazy. I spent so much time with Gabby. I used to do an episode of London Real back in the day, and I would go out on the tube out to South Woodford where Mariana lived. It was out in the Red Bridge, and I'd pick Gabby up and I would take her to the Westfield Mall out in Stratford, and we'd go have a snack there. We'd play chess. We'd go shopping for mom and buy mom some clothes. And this is all back in the day, kind of pre-Olympics and stuff. And I started raising her, and this little girl changed my life. She really changed my life. She just made me become a father, and it was something I think I was really missing. And so everything changed. And I remember at one point I thought, I need to bring these two ladies into my life. So I remember when I decided to move in with them, that was a really big deal. So you went from Bachelor Brian for 30 some years of his life to all of a sudden you've got someone living with you and a little girl living with you in the same house. And they brought their cat as well. So it was crazy. I remember the first week we got there, everybody was like, what's going on here? Even the cat was freaking out. But it was a real moment in my life of growth. And I can't believe it almost didn't happen, because it really changed who I was as a person. I love being a father, and we became a family. And here's a picture of the three of us. This was New Year's Eve in Ghent. Big shout out to Ghent in Belgium. And this was a picture of us. We took a holiday. I remember this was like a week before my TED Talk, because I remember practicing my TED Talk on the holiday. And this is a picture of the three of us, and we just became this family. And Gabby became my daughter, and I ended up raising her. And I remember, helping her study for homework, and she just became, my daughter. And so that's a picture of us then. And of course, we continued throughout the years. And just recently, Gabby has kind of gotten involved in my campaign for mayor. And she tries to stay off my social feeds as much as possible. But here's a picture of me and Gabby outside the battle bus. And yep, she's all grown up. She's all grown up, just turned 17. And it's hard to imagine, because I remember when she was just a little munchkin. I think I met her when she was 4 years old. And it's been an incredible journey. I'm so proud to be her father. I'm so proud of Gabby and everything she's done. I tell her how proud of her I is. She's an incredible young woman. She's got a great head on her shoulders. She's doing great work, and I couldn't be more proud. So Gabby, God bless, and keep crushing it, but keep pushing yourself as well. Demand better every single day, and you can do anything you want. That's my message to Gabby. All you got to do is put in the work. Now, along the way, my wife, Mariana, she pitched me on an idea that she had, and that's to have some more kids. Now, again, I resisted this idea because that seemed crazy to me. I never thought I would have kids, but my wife is persistent. She's even more persistent than me. And so it took her a few years, but finally, we ended up having these two incredible boys. And so Caden and Damon were born. And here's a picture of me with my two boys, and I take them out every Sunday, and we always have a lot of fun together. These two guys are the funniest guys you'll ever meet. It's all comedy. It's all action. They're like little pirates. They're like little cowboys. And they run around and they just cause havoc. They're fascinating. They're fabulously intelligent. They're articulate. They're creative. And it's just been an absolute incredible adventure. So now I've got this big house full of people and a cat. And sometimes I just can't believe what happens. This all happened. It's sometimes very hard to believe. And sometimes it's not just them. Sometimes the grandparents come from Bulgaria as well. My wife's from Bulgaria. And so the grandparents come over. I literally got a house with 8 people. And sometimes I come home and I'm like, wait a second. I used to be the bachelor with the 2-story place in Shoreditch, that thought I had my life sorted. And I got 8 people in the house, well, including the cat. But I actually love coming home. I love having a bunch of people in the house. I love the boys there and Gabby there and the grandparents there. And this has just become my thing. And so I would just say to anybody out there who is like the Brian that was in his 30s, who thinks that's not for me, never for me. Children is the most incredible experience. And I can't believe I almost missed this incredibly important part of life, which is to be a parent and to be a parent, really. It's the hardest job you'll ever have and the most rewarding job you'll ever have. That's a quote from Daniel Craig, the James Bond actor. And it's so true. It'll teach you more about yourself. It'll make you ask hard questions. And it's very ego destroying sometimes, because sometimes they are a priority over you. But it's been an amazing adventure. And here's one last picture of me and my wife Mariana and the 2 boys. And this is us just kind of hanging out at home, and some special moments. And like I said, these boys, they're just amazing. And they pop in my door in the morning, and sometimes it feels like a dream that these young men are in my life. And I'm so proud of who they are, and I'm so proud of who they're going to become. And I don't know if they know what Daddy does, but they know I'm on the screens a lot. They listen to my shows, and my wife is probably listening to this Instagram, and they hear Daddy on the thing, and they probably think it's normal for Daddy to have a bus. I'm not sure, but that's kind of what they look like. And so we can take that down. And that's it. And so I just want my sons to grow up and my daughter to grow up to know that anything's possible if you put in the work. If you dream big enough, you can do anything you want in this world. And I try to live that example every single day. And one of the big reasons I ran to be your next mayor of London is because of my 2 young boys, Damon and Caden. And 2041 is 20 years from now. And I thought about the conversation I would have with them then. And they would say, hey, Dad, what did you do back in the big crisis of 2021, when London was on its knees, when it was suffering from a massive depression, the worst in 300 years, recession, and there was a horrible mayor and no one had a plan and people were being stabbed in the streets? What did you do, Daddy? And they would have said, did you make some more videos and put them on YouTube, Daddy? Or did you actually do something to save our city? That's the question I know they're going to ask me. And so that's one of the reasons I had to run for mayor, because I don't want to tell them that I just made some videos because it was easy, because I knew how to do that and I had a channel. I want to say that I actually made a difference for this city. I put it all on the line. I went out there and went for it. I created the best ideas in the business. We didn't let a moment go by without us pushing hard for this agenda. I have a vision for this city. I gave back to this city, and I try to make it a great city that I can pass on to my sons and pass on to our children and grandchildren. And so that's what this election is about for me. This is personal, and it should be personal for you. On May 6th, you're electing a leader that's going to change your financial future. It's going to change your health, your well-being. It's going to change your children's future, their education. It's a really big choice, and I think we need to take it very seriously. We've seen this last year, where, by the way, the mayor was unelected. We've seen the massive mistakes our leaders have made. Now is your chance to make sure that never happens again.